Welcome back to the SuperCaoch Experience podcast. We're here on the Sunday wrap-up. Yet again, we missed last week from a massive magic round. Savs has only just now recovered from it, as well as Jake missing while he enjoys his time in the US. So you're back with an old school Mike and Savs show here. Pretty big week. We've got lots to talk about, lots of Origin news coming in as we speak right now. So over to you, Savs, the coach of the Savage Burbos. I know you'd feel it's a bit of an underwhelming week for yourself, but how'd you go?
12-23. I mean, looking at everyone's final scores at the end now, I don't feel as bad. A lot of people up in the top kind of kicked on 100, 200 points more than me, but I feel like I'm still up there. I'm still in the top 100 at least. Going into the buys, that's always the goal. So pretty happy with where I'm at. Bit of a shocker week. Just things didn't go my way, but it was never things I was ever considering. Like it kind of sucks that I didn't have Tedesco instead of Latrell, but Latrell got me 30 extra points last week than Teddy. So I can't complain because every move I've made has got me to where I am. And right now, just didn't work for me this week. So that's fine. Going into the buys, just got to make sure I don't lose my head, because when you have a bad week or have an under par week, a lot of people tend to lose their heads and go against their plan, and then it just gets worse and worse for them. So if I stick to my plans, I'll be all good.
Yeah, I don't think you got much to worry about. I think the buys come at a perfect time for you. You average very, very high in the buys. You're very good at that. I guess it's just coming up to the buys. There are some scary plays that you don't want to own. It's just making sure you have a lot of them, and we'll cover some of them in there. But I guess for myself,
I got some players that I wasn't expecting for round 13, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, same with me. So we're still yet to get the full team. We've got a league side, but I'm waiting for confirmation on that. We'll address it as we go on. But my side managed up with a 1275. Which I think is okay for about 2,600 in rank. So at the end there, I got a bit of I played Tua Picky this week, and he didn't make the team sheet. I've got no news why. I know half of you be thinking, why the hell do you still have him? But yep, I still have him. I flicked him to Dallin right before it. I had 10 minutes to make the decision because I looked at teams real late. Kind of went to Sav and go, shit, what do you reckon? Am I an idiot for doing this? It was all I could afford. And the reason I wanted to do it is I would have dealt a BE of 16. An AE of 16. So I decided to move to Dallin and got an extra 60 points from it. So pretty happy. I've got good numbers for the buy round. I guess before we go into it, Savs, how many you got for round 13 before TLT?
I had 13 at worst, but based on this league side that we have, I think I've got 14 or 15. And I don't have Manu, so I will be looking at getting in Manu this week. But now that Tedesco seems to be dropped from the Origin side, do you get him in? And Latrell didn't make the Origin side apparently either, so he's another number for round 16, which is going to be handy. There's a lot to weigh up.
Yeah, I guess huge news too, if that league side's true, is Coruscant snubbed, which is great for us Coruscant owners and not so good for Robson owners because there's a number you lost. But I thought that's the way they'd go, and I'm very, very happy with that one. I was praying that because obviously I know it might sound selfish, but if the players that you don't have, you want them to get named so you can get one up of the rest of the competition. But apart from that, yeah, I sit with 16. At the moment, pre-trades, and that's if Burden, it looks like he's the 19th man, which would see him play for the Dogs. If not, I've got 15, and if it stays that way, I've saved no trades. So next week, I'm looking at a triple save to get back amongst it. I need a save over the buy round. So, keen to see it unfolds, but let's cover the big week that it was. A lot of big scores, a lot of disappointments, and yeah, I'd say there was a bit of carnage. But first game, the Dogs and Dragons, there's a lot of big high-scoring rounds, like point-wise, like not SuperCaoch, but like point-wise. So many points scored, which also shows why there is a lot of obviously high SuperCaoch points as well. The big one in this game, the winner, I wouldn't say the super pod, but I'd say my hero, that's for sure. Jacob Carraz. What a purchase for the guys that jumped on. got him, I think, when he come back from that injury right after his bye, or round 11. And since then, he's made owners a stack of cash. But I think his 3-round average is going to be like a ton. So scored 132 odd, or 134, sorry. And before that, he got 92 and 100. So it's going to be a massive 3-round average. And heading into the buys, if you don't own him, he's only like 7% ownership. He's going to be a bit too expensive, Sabs. Like, are you worried not having a guy like Carraz, especially if Burden's staying in that dog side? He's going to be a scary one not to own, I think.
So he goes up to 800K, which is it's a lot of money. And if you're paying 800K, do you prefer to get a Manu or something like that, or you're selling an absolute premium guy? Carraz was at like 650 not too long ago, and I was very keen on him. But with Carraz, I think the ship has sailed with him. I don't think he's a must-have for this buy round, but he does play round 13 and 14, which is pretty good.
And the 16 as well, which I think is important with a player like Carraz.
As well.
They play the next 2 buys, so that's what makes him and Manu, in my eyes, the 2 best centre wings that you can have for this starting buy round. I think and probably Asako I'd put in the top 3 just based on how many rounds they're covering. But the fact you get 2 out of it, and to be honest with you, Carraz looks like a season-long hold, but you're right. Would you be willing to spend 800K on him? His break-even will be relatively low too still. And let's face it, he's the kind of guy that scores 1 try and he gets about 90 odd. That's the kind of winger that you want. And he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's got it in him. His draw is nice. He has Newcastle next week, then Parramatta, then he's got the Roosters, Sharks.
In the bye, but Roosters in the bye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Roosters in the bye. So we've got Teddy in the bye round now. But yeah, I don't know. I like Carraz, but I think there's lots of value elsewhere. I think if your team value is really good and you got no other pressing issues, he's a good buy. But if your team's struggling, he's not a must-have for your side.
I think that's fair, but this might be a bit controversial, but if you're picking between Carraz and Manu next week, I'd probably pick Carraz purely for the reason that he covers 14. If you've already got a lot of Roosters, which I'm assuming a lot of people do, I kind of prefer, especially if Burden stays in that dog side, I got Carraz just a touch ahead, and they're going to cost you around the same price too. So, plus his ownership is like a quarter of what Manu's is. Moving on to Salmon, the wheat gutted dog. For anyone that has him still, he's going to see some cash generation now. 83, big score, double from him. Matty Burden, we brought him in 2 weeks ago, the pair of us, Abs, and back-to-back 80s, scoring lots of tries, but man, he's been fun to own. He's been pretty consistent this year.
He has ever since I think round 3, round 4, so 67, 147, 79, 80, 73, 80, 80, and then 81 on the weekend. So he's got 3 80s in a row. Oh, geez, look how many 80s he's got. It's ridiculous.
He's got tries. I think it's at least 3 he scored in the last 3 weeks. So I'm not sure if he scored before that, but I know he's definitely scored a try.
Yeah, one there, and then he scored 3 versus the Roosters.
So that's bumped up 2 of his, and this week's, of course, he would have got 50 without all those tries, or some of them.
Yeah.
Actually. What did he get? He got a double this week.
Yeah, he got a double.
But anyways, the huge news from him will be if he's missed that 18-man squad, that's a huge number, and potentially against the Knights. I haven't seen it when they play. He could be someone that you'd chuck a C or VC on.
Let's just say the announced side, and if it officially comes out, we'll
analyze it.
Yeah, so Dylan Edwards, a fullback, To'o and Lomax on the wing. So Lomax for this game on the other side of the park, 42 points. He had a shocker. I think a lot of owners would have thought, he's played himself out of Origin. How good. I've got him for the buy round. You don't. So that's pretty cool. Suoli'i and Crichton in the centers. I wasn't expecting that.
Is this all confirmed, Sabs? Is this confirmed?
This is leaked by Michael Shamus, though. Michael Shamus is on most of the time. Lua and Hines in the half, so we don't have Hines. Haas and Trebojevic in the front row. Robson at hooker. Crichton and Martin on the edges. McKinnon starts at lock. Yo Olakawatu, Spencer Linu, and Hudson Young on the bench, which means Terrell May for the buy rounds looks good. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
No Cody Walker, which we thought would be the case, which is also huge for, him as a potential buy option now. No Latrell is huge after this. I would have had Burden in that team somewhere. And the fact that I know I'm a Panthers supporter, but Yo should be the captain and the starting lock. I think McInnes would have played perfectly off the bench. But I love that they found room for all Owakalatu, Young, Crichton, and Martin, because I think they're 4 of the best second roles in the comp. So I think having them in there is smart. I like it.
Don't be surprised if McInnes just starts a lock for all the tough stuff, and Robson goes to the bench. No, McInnes starts at hooker. Robson goes to the bench, and then Yo starts because it just makes sense with that Penrith connection with Edwards out the back and Luai on the left. I think that might be something that they do, but the fact that they chose Robson, I would have expected them to do that plan with an Appy or something. So yeah, that'll be something to watch out for. But
one prop on the bench. It's interesting how they're going to rotate the minutes. Like I know they've got players that can play in there, but it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Like Martin might play some middle. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, Martin will push into the middle. I reckon Young will play middle. Oh, maybe
play middle.
Olakau'atu will play middle, probably.
It's going to be interesting how he does it. But I know a lot of people might shit on this side, but let's just see how they go. Like he has a lot of injuries to deal with.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it. And to be honest, I'm very happy from a SuperCaoch standpoint. Like it's
so am I.
Huge. Like the fact that Robson that got name helps me burden. That's another crazy. Kiri 18th man, if you didn't say it either, Savs.
Yeah.
Kiri and Burden.
Yeah, Kiri 18th. Oh, Kiri 18th.
Yeah.
Which means Manu 5'8".
Oh, huge. Which, all right. If Manu's 5'8", I put Manu ahead of Kraz.
No, he won't play 5'8" because Sandon Smith is available. So.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Damn. But, man, it's going to be interesting. And this Panther side this week, it's going to be a New South Wales Cup side, basically. It's going to be very interesting. Their whole spine, and they've got Jack Cole out potentially with injury too. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, he's got a hamstring that he's going to get scanned. So, they're going to have both their half scored. That's 4 halves. No Cleary, no Snyder, no Luai, no Cole. Huge.
And Oyongi,
no Edwards.
Fullback?
I've been waiting a long time to see Isaiah Longy play fullback, and hopefully probably that Trent Luau will debut. But anyways, that's for you guys at the TLT. Let's not regress. But huge news. It's going to be an interesting week for SuperCaoch. I'm excited. Back to the Dogs. Burden to Yamani. Let's maybe more. I'll just touch on the ones that I think are relevant for trades next week. Jacob Preston, if he would have started, I would have been a bit I think a lot more people might have taken the punt on him, myself included. He's been scoring some tries, which have bumped up his scores, but realistically, he's at 543K. Looks like he's bottomed out in price. The fact he's starting in Salmon's holding that spot, scored a 2-2 in his 57 minutes last week, and I'm not 100% sure how many minutes he got this week, but I don't know if I could go there. But at the price and the fact they cover the next 2, the Dogs are tempting to look at. Apart from that, you got Stephen Crichton scored pretty well. So did Cherry. Sam Hughes with a low 31. Could you go someone like Addo Carr now that he's been snubbed from the Blues if you wanted someone real risky? I don't think you could, can you?
39 points.
519K. That's expensive. You'd want to get him low 400s.
Well, he'll be 480.
He hasn't been scoring tries either.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, no, yuck. Over to the Dragons, who also present some buy round option. They do play a very understrength Penrith side, but I still think the Penrith will be able to get it done against them, especially without Hunt and Lomax, their 2 best players.
Yeah. Well, Hunt, Lomax, and are they missing someone else as well? I'm pretty sure that
potentially Sewer
will be gone.
Yeah. Yep, potentially. Yeah, but from here, Sully's a smoky. I guess the only Dragon player that you kind of is a bit of a smoky is Sully at the price. He's pretty cheap, 428, massive break even still. So his break even will come down massively. And if you want a Dragons guy, he's a bit of a sneaky. They do cover 2 buys. They cover the first and the last. But it's only, I guess, an option if you're desperate for numbers. I think you don't want to just happy trade for a number if you don't need to. Look ahead, because from here, some teams really open up, like, the Tigers open up for the next buys, the Bunnies open up for the next buys, Warriors and Storm are available for the second. So I guess planning ahead is key if your numbers are looking pretty good. We'll flick over to you for the Cowboys-Tigers game, Sabs.
Yeah, so the Cowboys-Tigers, we knew this was going to be high scoring, but didn't know it'd be high scoring on both sides of the park. Valentine Holmes, 136. Time when he was just looked best. We were hoping that maybe he had a shocker, so we got him for the bye period, but it probably won't happen now. Scotty Drinkwater, 105 points, very popular captain option, but wasn't the best on the weekend. I actually thought that because of the fight back from the Tigers, he could have got a lot more, but he was still in everything. Like, I'm pretty sure he had like 3 try assists
in the last 20 minutes.
32 points in line break assists. He had what's that? FT
40-20.
40-20. He had a couple. No, he didn't have any line breaks. Interesting. But yeah, 105 points. You'll take it considering there wasn't many other captain options for my side personally, except Valentine Holmes. Nanai pumps it out, 94 points. Robson, 65 points. Done a great service up until the bye round. Very happy with how he's gone. Vinny Furuaki, 16 points, loses quite a bit of cash. He's going to be at like 375K with another big break even. So hopefully the bye round, he can repay faith, get a big score, and then we can hopefully sell him for about 400K following that bye round.
Yeah, I guess the main thing with him, we took the cash drop so we could potentially have a 60-plus score in the bye round. So I think if he can do that, it'll be worthwhile. But this Cowboys side will have a few guys missing. They're going to have their number 9 in the center, but they're still and they'll have Ruben Cotter. They'll have 4 guys missing. So this Cowboys side will be severely understrength next week.
Yeah, and they're also playing the Roosters, who are probably the strongest side of the weekend. Like, they'll be missing Collins, missing Lenu, but they've missed Lenu.
Suwali.
Suwali's gone, but they've still got
Roosters side is really strong, man. They're going to be a massive target this week. Man, if you got Tedesco against this weaker Cowboys side, man, it's going to be
Yeah, I know. I've got Latrell, and I was considering if Teddy missed out, do I go Latrell to Teddy? Well, I don't know if I can do it just for 1 week.
That's a waste. That's a massive waste.
Yeah. Anyway, other side of the park, Galvin keeps pumping it out, 90 points. He's just going to keep on going. His break-even was 13, so he makes a shitload of cash. Question.
Break-even next week for sure.
He'll be a massive hold through the buys, you reckon?
Yeah, like, I don't think there's any way you can sell him with how well he's doing. And the main thing is, as I said before, the Tigers' coverage is ridiculous. The Tigers will cover you after 13, they will cover you 16, 19, and I'm pretty sure they cover each of the main bye rounds after it, or most of it. They cover a lot. So realistically, they just don't cover this one. So to be honest, the fact that he can pump this out pretty easily, these scores, and it could be a lot bigger too. Like, I feel like he's got the potential to go a lot bigger. I think you just hold on, keep playing him. I didn't play him this week, spewing. But yeah, definite hold through the bye rounds for sure.
Samuel Afinu finally breaks out, gets try, 82 points, so he makes roughly like 30K, so it'll be 410K. Nice little maybe sideways trade from a Sam Hughes after the bye round, potentially. Sam Hughes does play round 16, but Sam Hughes is going to keep kicking on for us, like 30 points on the weekend, depleted pack. Is Sam Hughes peaked? Like, is he really worth holding on the buys when we can upgrade him or sideways trade him to a guy like Fainu?
I think if you're low on trades, like I know we are, I wouldn't be doing a trade like that. I think holding on and hoping, like we've seen that Sam Hughes can find a way to the line. And if he scores a try in an origin round and all of a sudden ends up with a 60 plus, those scores are huge in bye rounds. So I'll be tempted just to hold on for that number, because the more you hold on to, the more trades we can save.
Not much else doing here. Alex Lobb, he came on the field and he looked like a bloody accountant. It was actually really funny. He was sitting on, he did look like he belonged in a footy outfit. But not much else doing here. Alex Twile scored a try, but Almelo, he scored 76 points with a break even of 16. So he'll go up to about 310, 315. Potential cheapy option, but I'm not sure what the Tigers' kind of options are, but they have the bye next week anyway. Moving on to the Manly Storm game. Are you doing this one or am I?
Yeah. We'll just go one for one. So the Manly Storm game, we got Tommy Talau top scored this one with 100. He's been a quiet achiever for how cheap he started at that. Good on if you took the risk. Burbo repays owners as well with a 76. They don't cover this first buy round, but they obviously cover the one after that. So, I think they're smart holds. Hopwade, I don't know how, 76 on debut, looked fairly good, played fullback, obviously only fullback only, so he's not really going to become an option unless, he's not going to be an option with fullback only. Gerbo, the captain for the Blues. I'm not sure if we cover that, which is crazy. 70, but
I think Yo should have got it because, obviously Cleary's the clear
club captain. Yeah.
Yeah, Cleary's obviously the clear captain option, but if you captain Yo, it's the smoothest transition for when he comes back in. So, yeah, weird decision, that one.
Yeah, crazy, but Ruben Garrick with a 69 did pretty solid. He's just proven, even at centre, it doesn't matter where he plays. He's a season-long keeper, and he's going to be handy when his, buy-round game comes up, which will be shortly. And apart from that, a low score from Olukwatu is good for, you're going to need him in your final side, which would be huge. You're going to need to want to jump on. So 724, that in his rolling average hopefully can come down so we can swoop on him later. Over the other side, Katoa keeps ticking on and has been one of the best second row purchases, jumping on at the 600K season-long keeper for sure. You caught it in the preseason podcast, and man, were you guys right. Just such a fun guy to own too, because he's got a ceiling. And he's going to be pivotal for their buy round as well. Jerome Hughes, where, I went Dylan Brown this week instead of Hughes just because Brown covers 2 buy rounds, but Hughes is the Storm's draw is pretty ridiculous, and he's going to be a guy that you're going to want to own. Break even 102, but if you flick over the season stats, Savs, and really dissect Melbourne's draw, it is really, really good, and is why I did consider him. The buy obviously, but Knights, Warriors, Dolphins, Raiders, Tigers, and that's going to stay. Look at that. That's a really juicy 5-round draw. Storm were a little bit underdone in this one, but nonetheless, I think he's a great option if you need a halfback. Moving past that, we got Nick Meaney with a 70, and he's been pretty good for the past couple of weeks. So huge, always seems to be a pod, and someone, if you want a premium for the next buy, will be someone that I guess you want to look at his price. Fa'alongo, another cheapie that we missed. It's going to keep making some good cash. I guess you can't have them all, but
Pappy is due back round 14-ish though, so I'm actually not too. Yeah,
it depends if he stays in the side, but apart from that, Harry Grant with the 57 entering buy round period. Apart from that, they don't cover this next buy round, so let's move on to game number 4.
All right, so the Raiders play the Roosters, and this is the story of the Roosters. Tedesco updated to 151, Sam Walker 100. So for those guys who sold Nico for Sam Walker, you might have been in a ball last week, just like on the floor. But this week, it's definitely worked out this week. I think you've won the trade leading into the buy rounds. Sam Walker now at quite a big amount of money. He's nearly 700K, lost 26K last week. So, but they're the kind of team that just put a team away when they're hot. They've scored over 30 points in the last 5 games. Tedesco's been a massive part of that. He makes 80K, so he's 830K, which sucks because if you're looking at getting him next week. That being said, if you've got the choice between Tedesco and Manu next week, what are you doing? I think it just depends who you're selling to get either. If you're selling a fullback who is, say you've got Dylan Edwards, do you sell to Tedesco or Manu if you don't have either?
No
I'd
way.
say Tedesco. I'd say Tedesco.
But I wouldn't say if you're saying in that example, there's no way I'd be trading Dylan Edwards.
Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, I wouldn't. No,
Really?
he's averaging way too high just because he got picked from Origin. He misses this week, but Panthers buys will fall in 16 and 19, which you wouldn't account him for anyways. I know they do like to rest players here and there, but dude, he's averaging way too high. If Penrith do play him in these other rounds, there's no way. Like you're gonna want him for it. Like I guess it'd be crap if he doesn't play 14, but I wouldn't be selling him. Because what you're going to want to get him back is too expensive. Like,
True.
you're
Like,
underestimating like the trades you're going to need. Yeah,
like he's a hold for the rest of the season after this. Really,
yeah, he's been so good, and I'm kicking myself not having him. Like as a Panthers fan, I'd love to own Edwards, but I just don't see myself being able to make it. Well, actually, the last 7 games that the Panthers have are so crazy that you're going to want to have someone like Edwards. So that's why I'd be against selling Edwards if. But anyways, back to your question, because we're talking about the Roosters, is Tedesco. I'd probably go Tedesco over Manu if you could make a trade in the fullback. But the risk with Tedesco is you might not have him for his round 16 game. If an injury happens to Edwards, Tedesco surely is the next man back up. Like he'd get called straight back into the side with how he's playing. So I guess it's just a risky one. But as we touched on before, they're versing the Cowboys. Tedesco 100% will become if I had him, it'd be a C for next week. And it can be very scary not owning him against a depleted Cowboys side while they still have a lot of strike power.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Sam Walker, Joey Manu, Victor Radley. I think when he plays on the edge, he's actually a really nice option. I know he's at a pretty hefty price, but look at his scores this year. I looked at him the other day.
He's been getting a lot of minutes too, but he has played mostly lock. But that's not too bad of a price if you're going to hold on to him.
Yeah, like 78, 55, 57, 56, 55. I'd love to have a look. I'll have a look and I'll speak about the stats on Tuesday. His minutes on the edge versus him in the middle, because with Crichton now, he is likely to play edge once again. But I really do like him on the edge. So he's one to look out for. That 103 game, I think that was a lock. But we'll have a look at that. Nafahu, what? He played in the middle. He scored 76 points, 354K. Second row, front row. Interesting option there. 73 points. Did he get any attacking stats? I think he scored a try. No, he didn't. He had 1 try contribution, 33 points in tackles, 14 points in tackle bus, and 21 in runs. So
honestly, he's a serious option to get rid of Joe Chan. A Joe Chan to him, that honestly, like I said, I wanted to say trades, but realistically,
I love it.
Because think about it, Joe Chan isn't in the Storm side, so he wasn't going to be a number for 14. I know Roosters play the bye round. Sorry, they get a bye after the bye round, but realistically, it'd be a good way to get rid of Chan. Like I said, I wanted to say all 3, but I'll be very tempted on that because realistically, at his price, he's going to get those minutes again for 13. 100%. Because Collins is out.
He goes up to about 375, 380. I was actually we usually talk about our like our early trade thoughts at the start of the show. My early trade thoughts were to bank some cash with another trade. I'll talk to you about it later. And I was going to go, I've got Solomoni for Tarpe in my side. I was going to go up to Armstrong to start generating some cash in that center wing. But it's also on the other side of the park with Joe Chan sitting there. That's also an option to upgrade Joe Chan to a Nafahu White instead, because like I just didn't want a Joe Chan and a Fata Ape just sitting there through the bye period. I wanted one of these guys to turn into someone who could generate cash and score points through this period. And I guess I've just got to weigh up, is Armstrong going to be better for that, or is Nafahu White? And if he gets named at lock, he's a very tempting option.
He will. I reckon he will, especially with the guys that they got missing. He will. And what do you reckon he'll go up to?
So he'll be about 380 at most.
Whoa. Looking at it live because of the Dallin move that I made, I need him. He can't. I've got 57K. So if he goes any more than 388, I can't trade him.
No. So it's about it's about 8,200 per 10 points over his break even. So with 73 points, that's 30 over his break even. So that's 8, 16, 24 at a price of 354. So that's 378. So it'll be about 380. So you'll be very close.
The huge thing too is that he's available for 2 buys. So I like jumping on someone to get rid of a bum that covers you for, like, you're also setting yourself up for the next one. So, okay, he's huge. I'll give it to the Degenerate. The Degenerate was all over him, and he was copping a lot of slack for it. And that actually becomes a super trade at that price, really.
The Degenerate was also kind of saying that Radley was going to go into lock and Nafahu White was going to go to the bench and Egan Butcher was going to start on the edge, which didn't happen. So,
true. But at the same time, bringing him in this week, I think that becomes a great play.
Yeah.
Second row, front row.
Terrell May looking like a nice hole for the buy rounds. Dom Young, 36 points, a bit underwhelming. Brandon Smith, I was having a massive eye on him for a kind of Danny Levi trade out. He loses he goes down to like 340. So Levi to Brandon Smith is going to be like, you don't lose money from that. But I need to see more from Brandon Smith to be able to pull the trigger on that, because it's going to be a weird trade out. Angus Crichton, 82 points. He was looking like he wasn't scoring that much. He misses his break even by 30 points, so he only goes down to 865. What are your thoughts on him as a trade out option in this Origin period? I think I was having a look at it, and I think he was going to be a serious consideration to trade out. But after the team lists have just dropped and all that sort of stuff, I can't see myself to do it, because I just can't see a great downgrade option to benefit from the trade.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Look, he's very expensive, and I'd highly consider getting rid of him. It just depends. It depends how you're doing with trades. But the huge thing is, with how stacked that Roosters side still is, maybe he does get rested. They've got plenty of people that can fill in. Maybe he'd be more one that Robbo wants to, ease through that period. He's at a whopping price. His break-even should be relatively high. He got saved by a try on the week, and otherwise he would have had 2 really low scores. I'd be tempted to do it if Fafita misses it, and you could potentially go, say he doesn't get named for 14, I would do a Crichton to Fafita. But realistically, the trading option would have to be pretty serious. And there isn't really one you could get in that's pretty serious. I guess him to Radley. Radley might be one of the better options, but then again, I don't know. The fact that the Roosters have a buy in the Roosters have a buy in 14, so he's missing 2 out of the next 3 weeks.
So if
a lot to have sitting there.
If Fafita does miss out on Origin, which is very likely, I think Queensland gets named tomorrow night. There was talks today that Cobbo was going to get a bench spot, and it was down to today's game because 4 of the last 6 Origin games, a Queensland outside back has gone down. So that's why they're looking at Cobbo instead of Fafita. And Fafita, the Titans won today. Fafita didn't absolutely stand out in that game, but I don't know. I still don't know which way they're going to go. I'd be surprised if they don't go Fafita, because obviously
it's crazy.
But
he's been one of their best players.
Yeah, that's still an option. But if he misses out, I think in 14, Crichton to Fafita, lock it in. I'd be all over that for sure. One person I did want to mention before I left, was there anyone else? No. Lenu misses out. Kiri is 18th man. On the other side of the park, Hudson Young top scores, 88 points, makes Origin, so a bit awkward there. Tarpanay upgrades 75 points, hits his break-even 569 points. I don't think he is the number one front row forward option to target in these buy rounds anymore, so I'd look elsewhere. KO Weeks just keeps on pumping on, negative 28 break-even, makes a massive amount of money. Congrats to whoever jumped on there. He's looking very good. Ethan Strange beats his break-even by 20 points, so makes another 16K. I think I'm very happy I held on for this buy round, and hopefully he can capitalize next week when they play. Who do they play in this buy round?
It's a good question. I've got no clue.
They play the Dolphins, so that's a pretty good matchup for them. But then they have the round 14 bye, but then they play round 16. So, I mean, someone like Ethan Strange, Danny Levi, Morgan Smithies with 29 points goes down from
He's down there at 11.
Yeah, he goes down from 480K to about 465 again. Hopefully we can hang on in this buy round with him, but I don't know. Is he worth holding through this buy period? Like, he's not scoring much more than 50 points a week anyway. In that round 14 buy, is he worth having a look at selling?
If there is a good person to jump to, I would definitely look at selling him if your numbers are good. But obviously, you want him for this one. Hudson Young's missing. How are the minutes going to shape? Because like when he does get the minutes, he can pump out a 40 and 50, and that's going to be handy in the buy round. But I'm going to try to hold him for 16. But if there was, someone like example, to be honest, someone that I'd be looking at if I could make it happen would be Colomatungi, who we'll cover in the South game. Like if you could go Smithy to Colomatungi round 14, I think that'd be huge. But yeah. Handy number for 13, but if you're struggling for 14, I'd definitely jump off to get your numbers stronger for 14.
I think, so like the likes of Ethan Strange, I was considering, so I'm probably going to sell someone in my halves area and push Ethan Strange up to 5'8" to get a center wing in. But I'm looking at Ethan Strange, and I was looking at Ethan Strange to maybe Jerome Hughes after in round 14 or something. But looking at their draw now, I think Ethan Strange really going to benefit off that. The Dolphins, the Cowboys, and the Tigers leading into 16. They do have Melbourne in round 17 and Newcastle in round 18, but then they have the round 19 bye. I think someone like Ethan Strange worth holding. KO Weeks is worth holding, but Morgan Smithies, I think if you can find someone, like, it's probably a perfect downgrade.
Yeah, you don't have to play Smithies, but like if you've got enough coverage in your second row, like you're only playing when you need to. Like we both probably only played him this week because KPP was on a bye. Otherwise, we're not playing him.
I've played him every week, but I think my side is nearly at the point now where I don't have to.
Yeah, sweet. All right, let's flick over. Somehow I always end up with the Penrith game. But
what a performance.
42-0, went to the game, went to Shark Park, and our first stat on the thing was as our first win there in 12 years. Pretty crazy stat. But,
really?
Yeah, I thought we had before. I swear I've seen a win there, but that's what one of the commentators said when I watched the highlight, like rewatched the highlights back. But I was on Shark Hill, and they were hating me because I was giving it to them. It was awesome, and for the Penrith to humble them too. Sorry, Sharks fans, but it was very good to humble them. Massive performance, especially in Digits round. I've got to talk about Dylan Edwards first. Deserves that call up to Origin, and I just can't believe how high his average this year. Like realistically, if you've just chucked your C on him every week, you'd be better off. Like that, you could. He's a player that honestly you could just have the C on each week, no matter who they're versing. Like look at that score set. His lowest score is 56 in round 3. Like that is absolutely ridiculous. Oh, sorry, 40 in round 1 against Melbourne, where Penrith scored 0 points. But from there, that's ridiculous. So when you're looking at that, like he's the number 1 player in SuperCaoch. He costs 938K. You just didn't think he had another level to him, and he's proved us all wrong this year.
He deserves that Origin call up, and I think he's been so consistent the last few years, but it just hasn't felt like he was up for Origin. But this year, like, I don't know, just starting to take steroids or something. Like, he's just got that dog about him now. Like,
he's just so safe at the back. He's so good under the high ball, and he makes us important run meters, which I think, why wouldn't you want that as your fullback for the Blues? But moving on, Penrith do have a bye next week.
Not in round 13. Not in round 13.
Oh, sorry. No, yeah, Panthers play. Yeah, sorry, Panthers play the bye round. I don't know what I said there, but yeah, they play the bye round. As I said, they're going to be decimated. They're going to have a lot of new guys, I guess. From a SuperCaoch point of view, Paul Alamotti keeps doing a fine job, and if you needed a centre wing, he could be looked at. Tago's dropping in price. You could also look at Tago for 39, but with so many guys out, like it's going to be hard to jump on a Panther knowing that they won't cover 16, they won't cover 19, but they will cover 14, 18, 14, 17, and 20. But yeah, I'm not really looking at any Panthers, and it'll be interesting to see the side that they name. But over to the other side, the Sharks cover 2 bye rounds. They cover the first and the last. They will be missing a stack of players. They'll be missing McInnes. They'll be missing Hines. Ramian, I guess, maybe played himself out of a spot. I reckon potentially. That game yesterday would have scared them. The amount of balls that he dropped, the amount of poor defensive reads that he made. I reckon he had that spot won. So apart from that, the interesting options from the Sharks, if you think they're going to do pretty well this week, they go up against the Eels, where it's rumored that Guffo and Moses are going to be back. Britton Nakor is one that I own. He's been going pretty averagely, but
still scoring all right.
He's still scoring all right. Like, he just scored those scores in tackles. And those, if he scores those tries, will come back. I don't plan on selling the Cora at all. Just a season-long hold for me, unless he's my only way to Fafita. But apart from that,
with Nikora, he goes down to 580k now. And with Angus Grant being 880, you can bank 300 by doing that trade. And you're kind of getting, I wouldn't say a similar player in SuperCaoch, but you got a similar type of guy with upside. We haven't seen it from Nikora this year, but
it'll come. It'll come when Hines starts hitting him. And I think it's important to note, Sabs, is after they play, if you have a look at his draw, after they have the, so after they got Brisbane in 14, but after that, they've got Dolphins, obviously a bye in 16, but Dolphins, Dogs, Titans, Tigers, Cowboys, Bunnies, Titans, Knights, Dragons. Look, their draw's ridiculous the whole way home. That's ridiculous. So, like, he bullies, weaker sides. So, realistically from here, the Sharks draw is ridiculous. They don't really play any top sides at the moment. They've had their tough patch now. That's crazy. They only play Panthers once this year. They definitely get a favourite draw. Well, let's target him in SuperCaoch. Apart from that, Iro has an off game. I'll throw this one to you, Sabs. Do you think that after this bye round, although he covers 19, is it maybe time to sell Iro?
I think with that draw that you talked about, no. Especially depending on how Trindle fills in that side. I think Trindle will come in, probably play right side, so that means we won't see much on the left side. So, I mean, his base has been really good, but he just hasn't scored that try. But I know it's coming. Like, the last 2 weeks, I've really banked on Kale Iro scoring big, and I really thought he was going to score this week. I had a multi on.
I didn't play him. I thought he was going to go fairly average this game, but
yeah,
I think the fact sorry, go Sabs, you go.
I've been happy with his base though, so I'm pretty happy for him not to score most weeks. But this week it was just Penrith was so dominant, it was just hard for him to do anything.
I think you'll have to look at how he goes this week and then maybe make a decision. But I just know there's so many center wings that, like, my center wings stacked, and there's going to be some that I'm going to want for the next buy. And I know I'm tempted by Alex Johnston every year. He's a trip jacket mafia legend. And I would be tempted in an Iro to Alex Johnston because you will actually make money with that. Or that would be a straight swap almost. I'll be tempted. But look, Iro has been very solid. But I'm just saying, obviously, look, 514, it's almost going to be a straight swap there. I know he only got 41 on the weekend, but I do think the Rabbitohs are going to start winning a couple of games. But
they come back.
Yeah, anyways, apart from that, I don't think there's any big targets. Mulatalo's price is dropping, so it'd be hard to jump on. But
I've got an interesting one. Blake Brayley, 112 break-even, scored 31 points. So he'll go down 50, he'll go down 60K, so it'd be 520. If you're Reece Robson owner, you make how much money from that? Oh, you only make 80K. That sucks.
It's hard making a move in that hooker position. If you want a hooker, you get JMK as long as you can cover 14, because JMK provides 3 buy rounds. I think right now when you're considering things is how many rounds are you going to get out of him? That's going to be the biggest question. And Stefano just sent Burden 18th man. The team just officially got released. So yeah, we haven't seen it, but that is 4 minutes ago.
Here we go. So Dylan Edwards at fullback, Bright Paul on wing, Stephen Crichton in the centres, Suali'i in the centres, Zach Lomax on the wing, Luai and Hines in the halves, Trebojevic and Haas front row, Robson hooker, Martin and Crichton on the edges, McInnes at lock, Yo, Olakau'atu, Lanu, Hudson Young on the bench. So
the league side was right. It's just the 18th man was named wrong. He put Keary as the 18th man.
Yeah. Does that mean, does Burton play then? Like,
I think the 18th man normally doesn't, but do they have rules that because it's in New South Wales, if he doesn't play a minute, can he? Oh no, he won't be able to because it's afterwards. Like,
No, round 13 is before the Origin game. So usually, like
he goes into camp.
every year, the 18th man has played, like because they've named the 18th man afterwards. So, but usually, I'm pretty sure the 18th man is usually like.
I swear, last year the 18th man didn't play for SuperCaoch. I might be wrong. If anyone can clear
No,
that
but
up.
what they did last year is they always pick someone who was on the bye round. So I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because the thing is, he goes into camp. So how can he train with the Bulldogs? You know what I mean? Like, it'll be interesting to see. But it doesn't matter. I guess if I'm picking up Nafua White this week, then I've still got 16. So I guess it doesn't matter. But interesting to see.
Does that make the Matt Burton more of a sell, or because he is healthy player for round 14, he probably isn't?
Yeah, I still think it won't. I won't want to trade him because of how well he's going, and with players are going to be coming back. What if Moses kills it all of a sudden? Burton might not be the 18th man next time. But then again, more injuries could happen, and he's very versatile. But
hopefully we can just wait and see what happens, because we'll wait till Tuesday, see if he gets named for the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
Because if
you'll get more insight on Tuesday from these guys. But yeah, someone also questioned, how do you know Cobbo is on the bench, not the feeder? These are all just rumors that are circling by in obviously all our podcasts and chats.
Yeah,
I heard nothing official for you, but
I heard on Triple M today, James Hooper talk about it, and like they were all arguing about it. They're like, "Why would you do that?" And he was kind of like, "It's just what I'm hearing."
Yeah, let's rapid fire through these next ones, Savs. All right, go to the Souths and the Eels.
Souths and Parramatta, Colomatangi, 133 points. He's
Juicy
nice.
price. I told you, around 14, you want him for sure.
Damien Cook, not really playing much hooker, but he's down in price. Latrell, 86 points, misses Origin and goes up quite significantly in price. Without that Simbin, that's a
purchase.
It's a nice score without that Simbin, right? Like,
yeah, he would have got. Think about it. You add the points that he lost. He's on about 94, 95, and an extra 10 minutes to play where they were scoring pretty well. So I think it becomes a great purchase last week, even from us selling Walsh. It's still not bad in the fact now we go into Origin. If for some reason, obviously, if injuries happen and he keeps playing really good, he could get caught up, especially if Blues lose. But if we can have him in our side for 16 and 19, I think it's huge, and it will make not having Tedesco okay. It's why you just won't be able to sell him. Like, you're bringing him in there. The fact he's not named on Origin, he will be able to provide a lot in that next buy round if we have him.
Yep, for sure. On the other side of the park, Dylan Brown, 66, keeps chugging along. Sivo, top scores, 112. Talangi, 87.
What a hold and what a
you just cut out. You just cut out. Your sound just cut out. Yes. No, can't hear you. Can't hear you. He's right there in the screen.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. I unplugged my mic.
Yeah, Talangi.
Yeah, Gutho has apparently it's been reported that Gutho when Mitch Moses returns, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Talangi and where he stays. But with how high he's scoring, if he gets shifted out of his position, or out of fullback, then potentially, you might look to offload him for the next buy. But realistically, he's been unreal, and I'm tempted to see where he plays this week. Because
I bought him this week. I'm so happy.
He makes it worthwhile because look how much is he making? He's going to make 130K. I think that's just a quick math there.
Yeah,
and then another massively low break even. He's going to end up at he's going to be like 600K.
It could be 600, 700K. So I think missing out on that. Armstrong, do you think he could be in a similar boat? Like, is he going to be someone we're going to want?
I think he's in a similar boat. I don't have room to do it in the center wing. I can't do it. I just bought Dallin now, so I can't get Armstrong. I don't think you can have all of them. But to be honest, Eddie's price and the low break even, I think he could be a purchase this week if you need to get rid of a center wing. But that position is so stacked.
Not much else doing for this game, really. You obviously talked about Alex Johnson before, but not much.
Yeah. Well, Bunnies, you're not considering till 14. As I now, with that 133, Colomatungi becomes huge. But apart from that, I think Hopgood's going to get landed a jersey. So I wonder what that's going to do for the minutes. But there's not really too many Eels I think you want to look at, really.
Yeah. Cool. Broncos versus the Titans.
Yep. So what an upset. What a game for the Titans. This was actually a pretty good game to watch. Reece Walsh, just doing Reece Walsh things, man. He just makes it look so easy with how easy he breaks that line. 112 rewards holders for last week. Payne Haas goes over for a try and ends up with a ton. Karapani, I know he's there for Stags, but he is 204. How many games was that his third or his second? Wait, bear with me. So he scored now 68 and 70. So when he eventually gets that third game, he's going to have a massively low break even and could be an option if he somehow stays in that side with injuries. But looks like
there you go. If he stays in that side, for me, see some having an eye out for something like this, like it'd be stupid of me to go Fata Ape to Armstrong when this guy is on the horizon. So now Fahu White from Chan is a good trade, so I can downgrade Fata Ape in the next round of team list. So good spot there.
Yeah, I think the Karapani, like, let's be honest, probably for 14, like, it depends if they rest some of their origin stars, and then he could get his third game. But realistically, all their backline are coming back from injury now. So I don't expect him to be there long-term unless another injury happens. But, moving on. So they're going to be missing Cobbo, Walsh, Haas. Like, they're going to miss a lot. But obviously, they don't play the first bye round. They play the second one, I think. The second or the third, so we don't really have to worry about who they're missing. So let's move over to the Titans. They also don't play this bye round, so you wouldn't be looking at any for a purchase for you next week. But Kinney's killing it. Firma's done a good job there today, scoring 318. Wow, he's just beat his break in by 110. David Fafita, just you watch him and then you look at his SuperCaoch points and you go, how did this guy consistently do it? And he's been killing it.
85 or something as well.
Yeah, and if he scores a try today, he tons up. Like, he's the kind of guy, he scores a try and you're looking at a ton. So he's a scary guy not to own. I've been happy not owning him because he's not as high owned as he normally is. But it's going to be the point that, you're going to need to grab him very, very soon. Especially if he misses that origin side, it'll be even sooner. Moving on from here, really, Brian Kelly keeps to do a good job. He got pushed out to the wing today. And also the guy on debut, what did he score, like 30? But he had an injury, the Francis, 35, and he went off with an injury, then come back on at the end. So, the Titans are being tested for sure with their depth, and just keep an eye on. A lot of these injuries are starting to become a bit more long-term, so that could obviously provide SuperCaoch opportunity when their bye comes around. And over to the last game, which actually was an upset. The Warriors were not the favorites in this game, but I think it wasn't a hard one to tip.
No, Tamari Martin, 117 points. Dallin, 76 points. Misses out on his break-even by 14 points, so he goes down to about 450. He's going to be a nice little.
He's bottomed out, especially.
But I think with him, I need to wait till SJ's back to definitely get him in. He played it fullback today, so he was more chance of scoring a try with that. But not much doing SuperCaoch-wise for the Warriors. But for the Dolphins, Herbie Farmworth top scores with 118 points. He's been secretly killing it this year. He's just below 600K, but with scores of 46, 57, 68, 40, 59, 40. He's been pretty consistent. Like as a center wing, lowest score of 40 points. I don't
Not bad at the price. Covers 3 buy rounds. But as I said, like, you just got to make sure you can cover that 14. Like, especially if you're interested in White and some of these other guys, it'd be hard because I'd prefer to just buy Zarko because I'm sure Zarko had a massive break even. So he's going to still cost an arm and a leg, right? 826.
750K.
Yeah, still, it's still a lot of money. I guess Herbie's at a nice price, and we've seen Herbie be priced at around an extra 100K. So it could be, and he'll stay in pod category, that's for sure.
But not much else doing for the Dolphins.
Lamelu, I kind of like. I was very tempted at Lamelu. He started again today, third game in a row where he's been named 17, started second row. Felice went into front row, which is promising for one. So stay at a super pod, and he's just last year's buy round, he absolutely killed it. If he continues to play on the edge at his price, he had a very low break even, but so he'll cost a bit more. But he's a sneaky one. But yeah, you're right. I guess Azaka, yeah. He's done so. Yeah, he continues to do a good job. He could be another good one. As a duel, but
he's tough. 47 points in tackles today.
Yeah, he's always been great with his base stats, and the fact he's playing second row and you can get him in a center wing, I don't hate it. Depends what you want. I think, realistically, anyone in the back line for the Dolphins at the moment could be a sneaky purchase, and they're going to be handy for all three buy rounds. The only team to cover all three. And maybe we'll just end on a question, Savs, by Jake Bowdry. Lomax could be a sneaky sell to Carraz. He could be a sneaky sell that he's missed, and he hasn't looked as great as he started. I don't know. It's a tough one, right?
And now that Jack Bird's injured, he will go into the center role. So,
I'd sell him.
Back to, I would too. I do have a quick question before we do go. Nico Hines. Hines.
It's very good. Yeah, we need it. We didn't touch on this.
He will be $1 million. I'm looking. My early trade thoughts are Nico Hines to Manu, bank 200K, and do these little upgrades from Joe Chan and maybe a Fata Ape to Armstrong. Do you think Nico Hines is going to be a sell because he's going to have a massive break even of like 200 next week, affected by Origin? He has a calf injury at the moment. We could pick him up for 700K in a couple of weeks, like by the end of the buy period. What are your thoughts?
If you've got the trades, I think you could do it because I've considered it. That 3 in his rolling average is huge for a guy that costs $1 million. If you don't have the trade, it's hard because you need Nico Hines. When he comes back, he's going to be firing. I guess you've got to make sure you've got a handy replacement, a good backup halfback if you are going to hold him through it. But I can see the warrant in it. Even you could go to Mitch Mosen and be risky from his injury. Like you can do a lot with it and then bank some money and go huge. But if I want to save trades, I want to at least save 2 next week. If I go white, I don't see myself doing it next week. If he's out round 14, I may consider it because realistically, if he's playing Origin, he's not going to lose any price next week. So you can wait. But I guess you'd probably want to – it makes more sense to do it before the buy so you can get yourself an extra number if you're desperate. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting because if he somehow goes down to 700K and then you jump on him as soon before he goes up again, that could really work depending who you go to. If they could average 80 who you go to, that could be huge, especially if you get injured.
Way to generate cash, especially like for someone like myself, I've prioritized the points and – the cash generation it's been hard to prioritize cash generation when you do prioritize the points because every week there seems to be like a points play that you really want. And this is a great way to kind of get it going again. And I think we all kind of have a similar amount of trades and it's just kind of looking at who you want to target for your final team. And it's it's a bit of an awkward one. I don't know which way to go with it, but I'm heavily considering it, especially with the 3 in his average. I don't want to lose someone who is $1 million and like the calf injury. If that's lingering in Origin and he gets injured in Origin, you're going to feel shit that you didn't sell him when everyone else sold him. And then you've got, but he's still at the price at least. But if that calf injury is lingering and he backs up from Origin and injures himself, like that's going to be even worse. Another thing to note with the calf injury, maybe Matt Burton is 18th man to cover for that. So maybe he will go into camp and not play for the Bulldogs to be that.
I don't think he'll play for the Dogs. And I just think the fact that I haven't saved many trades, I don't think I'll be able to make a Nico Hines trade work. The fact that, I'm happy I've brought Brown in. I guess if Burden's your backup half and then he gets rested the week after he comes back, at least by having Brown, you can still switch around. So I think, I think it's one for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. But it's definitely a strat that could work. But yeah, I guess now, all this has just come and happened in the last hour. So now it's time to go to the drawing board and come up with the best plan. Wait till Tuesday. I turn 30 on Saturday, next Saturday. So I'm not going to be heavily focused around the footy. So I'm going to have to kind of pre-plan and get that set in beforehand, before I have a very big weekend. But
is it your birthday party next week?
Yeah, next Saturday.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, live on air, but yeah, 30 next week, and so yeah, I guess it's gonna be interesting, interesting round ahead. So a lot to plan, but I guess that kind of wraps us up. I know you guys are going to have lots of questions. There's going to be lots happening from now till Tuesday, and Sabs and Timmy will have you guys covered as per usual for a big and a massive TLT Tuesday, as well as followed by On the Burst on Wednesday, heading into a massive buy round. So,
how'd you pull up from Magic Round, and how did you like it?
I loved it. It was good. I think next time I go, I want to come with you, and I want to do more SuperCaoch interacting, more podcasts of things. But I had a great time. I watched every game. I left the last game maybe 40 minutes early because I had an early flight the next day. But I thought it was amazing, and I thought it was incredible. You interviewed me live on the day and said, what's one thing that they could do to improve Magic Round? And I thought of it at the end, and I don't know why it's not a thing. Why the hell aren't we not doing like all the fans wear heritage jerseys? I love on the day. My favorite thing was you just show off the oldest jersey you have, and everyone compliments you for it. And the amount of compliments I got for wearing a real old Penrith one, and I was complimenting other ones. Like, it was awesome. Why the hell aren't the players wearing heritage jerseys? It should be. They've got rid of heritage round. Pick up on what the fans are doing, and all the teams should be wearing old jerseys. Why aren't they doing that?
I don't mind that. A lot of people have suggested Magic Round jerseys, so people can buy Magic Round jerseys for Magic Round, but just make
a heritage throwback. Yeah, like pick up what the fans are doing and do that, and bring out a heritage jersey for Magic Round. Like, I think, come on, like, why aren't they doing that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I had a great time. I want to go every year if I can, but obviously, it's gonna be hard to because it was an expensive weekend, but it was fun. It was good. I met a lot of guys that lived in Queensland. It was good.
Yeah. I spent a lot more money than I expected to. I spent like $2,000.
But what a stadium. You guys that live there and go there all the time. Brilliant stadium.
So lucky. And like I was thinking about the other day, why is it so different to Sydney? Like, why isn't Sydney like that? But it's because it's in Brisbane, whereas like our main stadium isn't in the main city.
It's in Homebush. Yeah, it's in their city. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but even if it was like in the city, let's say it was Moore Park or the SFS, like this, it's still a fair way away from anything.
The main city, yeah. We technically don't have one in the heart of the city. There isn't a Sydney stadium, which is actually a fair point.
If there was one like right next to Darling Harbour, then you could kind of do it, but there's not.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a great weekend nonetheless. But other than that, let's wrap it up. Thanks for joining us, and Sabs, thanks for coming on yet again in your busy schedule. Good luck with the buy rounds. Don't forget you only need 13, and for the people that forget, you do get an extra trade this week. If you're out of boost, you get 3. So good luck. Hopefully your buy planning's worked out, and let's get ready for Origin as well. See you later, guys.